Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface. The video that I'm going to bring you today is my little jaunt in the Stormstout Brewery, which is the second dungeon to have been introduced to the beta servers for the Mists of Pandaria, which is the up-and-coming World of Warcraft expansion. Now, my videos have been a little bit sparse over the course of the last 2 or 3 days relating to the World of Warcraft and the WoW beta for this expansion, and that's because the client has been very, very unstable, with literal crashes every 30 seconds or so for a lot of people. This has caused, as you'll probably be aware, a lot of interruptions to when I can film, how I can film, and such and so forth. And then when they managed to get that sorted out, which is only within the last 24 hours or so, they introduced a couple of changes to the Destruction Warlock, which appears to have broken it. They've added another Burning Ember to make it 4 Burning Embers, but they're all showing completed. However, you can't use any of those completed Burning Embers. You still have to build them up, and you can't tell that you've built up a Burning Ember unless you recognise that you are on fire, and it's all very, very confusing at the moment. To compound matters, demonology is all over the place, and affliction has issues with rotation as well. So warlocks are in a little bit of bleh at the minute, but that's the whole point of a beta. It's to test these things out and for Blizz to then accordingly change. Now at the bottom you'll see that I've got this little bar that's filling up with a little bit of yellow every time that we kill trash. Now, to awaken the first boss, we have to completely fill that bar, and then the first boss will appear and we'll be able to engage it. And what I've decided as a warlock is to use Life Harvest, or Harvest Life, as an AoE is, utility-wise, the best thing to do in a dungeon. It might not be the biggest DPS, but it will save the healer a heck of a lot of mana, and it will keep you topped up on your health at all times without you having any mana issues either. So, for utility purposes, a very, very good spell to pick, and a very, very good spell to use within dungeons for AoE. You will be the pride of place with your healer. Now, we're just having a couple of issues with trash running around, but we have filled up the bar, and the first boss has appeared. Now, the first boss is called Uk Uk. Indeed. Uk Uk. It's the best you're going to get out of me. And Uk Uk is Donkey Kong. This is a Donkey Kong game. He will throw barrels all around the room, and there's a couple of things that you can do with these barrels. You can either avoid them, or get hit by them, like I just did there, and took 50,000 damage, or you can actually jump on top of them and direct them into the boss, and if they smash into the boss, then they'll hit the boss for damage. So it's all jolly good fun. The more the boss takes damage, the more barrels he throws out, and then he does a conal attack, which throws out more barrels and more barrels. So by the time he gets into the fight, there is barrels everywhere. And it is good fun. A couple of the colleagues there jump on the barrels and try and run them into the boss, and then I think to kill the boss they actually run a couple of barrels into him. Now, as you can see, I am no longer using Soul Fire. I am using Chaos Bolt. Now, a lot of Destruction Warlocks are going to be very happy about that. Soul Fire has been removed as a destruction spell. It's still usable for Affliction and Demonology, and they've replaced it with Chaos Bolt. To all intents and purposes, it is still Soulfire. It does exactly the same as Soulfire, but they changed the cosmetic for it to look like Chaos Bolt, and they've called it Chaos Bolt. So, Destruction Warlocks at last have Chaos Bolt back. Why they removed it is beyond me, to be perfectly honest with you, because Chaos Bolt wasn't just a direct damage spell. It had utility purposes. To remove that from a Warlock was a little bit harsh, I think, especially because a Warlock in Cataclysm has had so little utility. It's been a mess. And this is the reason why hardly anyone is playing a Warlock at the minute, and probably contributing factor to why they've had to do so much with the Warlock for Mists of Pandaria to tweak it and change it, and hopefully get more people playing the Warlock again. Anyway, as before, when I do a boss fight, I will show you the loot that drops for a brief period of time. If you want to have a more in-depth look at the stats on it, just pause the video and you can have a look at it at your leisure. Now, just moving from the outside through to the other outside, through this internal area, It's a bit of a gauntlet run. You have to keep moving. If you don't keep moving, then these little lads will just keep spawning, and this takes us on to the second boss out of 3, which is Hoptulus. Now, Hoptulus is a bit of a carrot fiend. It's blocked our entrance with a massive carrot. It's got carrots strapped on its back, and it spews carrot puree out, as you can see, which will harm you quite nastily if you get hit by it. It'll also knock you back, so make sure that you don't get hit by that. I certainly do not get hit by it again. No. So it does a spinning attack, which will hit people within melee range. You have to be careful of that, but if you're ranged, you can just burn down the ads that keep jumping in every so often, and make sure you miss that 360 conal attack of carrot puree. But he goes down really, really quick. It's almost like a mini boss at the minute. Probably would benefit from a bit of an HP increase, or we might just have had a half decent team burning him down really quick. So there we go. There's the loot from that boss. Unfortunately, the final boss doesn't drop any loot at the moment. I don't know if it was just glitched for us or if it's a current glitch, but I've only done this dungeon the one time and recorded it. But there's no loot, unfortunately, at the end that we can drool over. However, the final boss fight is relatively interesting, and the trash getting to the final boss steps up a gear now, which is nice to see. Now, these little mobs, you'll notice, have dropped this beer on the floor, this toxic beer. Don't stand in it. Very, very nasty stuff. It's the typical World of Warcraft rules when it comes to dungeons. If there's something on the floor which hasn't been produced by one of your party members, don't stand in it. It's most likely just going to hurt you, which is a rule, by the way, I don't live by, as you'll see in a moment, because when these bigger mobs drop it, you can see it's dealing shed loads of damage to me. It's doing 15k a tick, so I have to move out of that very quickly, or I will drop before I know it. However, the healer's on top of things, gets us back up to full health really quickly. And then you'll see another little attack that it does, even though I'm at range now, I'm not getting hit by the beer on the floor. I'm spewing out this beer on the left and the right hand side of me. It's made me increase my size, but if people get within that blast radius, it'll knock them back. So if you can see somebody with that debuff on them, just stay away, wait for it to drop. But it's also a debuff which this boss, which is the final boss, introduces as well. And you have to be more careful now, because this boss has a couple of nasty little mechanics if you're not concentrating. If you are concentrating, it will be a breeze, this fight. It's got a lot of HP, takes a little bit of time to burn down, but its mechanic is nice and easy to avoid if you're thinking. If you're not thinking, could get in a lot of trouble, and especially for the healer, because one of them is a stun, and if you're stunned, can cause problems, because this boss will hit quite ferociously. Now, you can see at the minute it's throwing out beer on the floor and stuff like that, which is to be avoided. And then you can see I'm spewing out the beer left and right. Now, there we go. As you've seen, I got hit by the first one and I managed to avoid the second one. It's a beer wave on the floor. If you stay there and let the beer wave hit you and don't move, you'll be stunned. But if you jump up in the air when the beer wave goes past, it will knock you up into the air and you'll land safely without being stunned. So as long as you keep concentrating on when to jump and when not to jump, you'll be fine. Now, I've pushed myself a little bit far back in this room, and to be quite honest with you, should have been a bit nearer. There, I managed to jump the first wave, but got stunned by the second wave. If you're a bit nearer but spread out, you can see exactly which areas the waves of the beer come from, because they are random. They can come from any way, from the top to the bottom to the left to the right. It doesn't matter. So just as long as you're on top of things all the time, you'll be able to avoid. And as you can see, he's got quite a lot of health. It's taken a little while to burn down, but quite a simple fight if you're just concentrating. There we go. Yay, yay. I like jumping in the air. Great fun. But doesn't drop any loot, which is a wee shame. But there we go. Now, the good news is there's a maintenance going on at the moment where hopefully the Blue Post have said they're looking to introduce a raise in the level cap from 87 to 88 and also 2 new 5-man dungeons. So fingers crossed for that. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. My name's Binaz. This channel is Heel vs Babyface, and I'll bring you some more stuff very, very soon. Take care. Bye bye.